we talked about choiceless awareness in the last talk, um, coming in, and it made me think. Sometimes I'm aware of my personality. I think trying to cut out choiceless awareness, without going into massive details for you, but it'll be, the top line is I know that smoking tobacco regularly reduces my brain power and I think my choiceless awareness. It sucks me back into my personality. I mean,
the personality wants to go to sleep. It doesn't want to know about this stuff. What we're talking about is the death of the personality. So anything to do with choiceless awareness, it doesn't want. Anything to do with going to sleep, self-gratification and just keeping you comfortable, distraction, that's the direction it wants to go in. So in the end, that choiceless awareness has to fall on that impulse to distract. There's a hell of a force to distract and to go to sleep. So it's odd, isn't it? Because it's like the personality is like it's a force, a constellation of energy that has its own principles and its own reason for being and its own rules and its own beliefs. And some of them, and a lot of them, are about defense, defending its position, defending its actual existence. So in the context of that, you can see that here you are pursuing a kind of more spiritual approach to living this life. So spiritual in the sense of being beyond personality. So here you are kind of just sort of straying off agenda. The personality's agenda is to protect itself, to maintain itself. The archetype is like the devil and the angel on your shoulder, isn't it? So the devil says, oh, distract yourself, go unconscious. It's much better that way. Then you don't have to feel the pain. The angel says, you don't need all that. This is the pure life. This is the real life. But there is an inclination to go to either kind of asleep or awake.
I don't like the imagery of the devil, but I can hear the pull to go partying. Go and have some fun. Let's go and get lost in oblivion, and there's fun and joy and happiness over here as well.
Is there joy in the personality? Do you feel? It's a big question.
It can be. When you're drunk out with your mates, there's joy there, and you're completely in your personality.
I'm talking about the joy of the natural state. So we're contrasting that with, you're using joy in the sense of a rush, a stimulation and an exhilaration.
For someone of my age group and my background, I'm possibly on the lower end of experience with hard drugs, I would say.
Right.
And one thing that really struck me in the books was you said, well, you have no experience of these matters, but as you understood it, taking drugs to get beyond personality is a bit like crashing a party. But there was some recognition in you saying that drugs maybe can take you beyond personality or give you an experience.
Some of these drugs can be used in the treatment of depression. Do you know which ones they are?
I've heard research in ketamine and MDMA I heard years ago was known as microdoses. Okay. LSD, I think, is, microdosing is meant to...
Right. So in the context of therapeutic help for depression, great. The drug works, great. Does it last? No. We're talking about something that's not to do with psychological states going up and down and depression coming and going. We're almost like in a different world. And there are lots of correspondences, but we have to be very clear about what those differences are. So I'm going to try and make that clear. So I'm talking about the natural state being lived as an adult. And the natural state doesn't need the uplift and the help and the support and the input of drugs. You can have experiences of, perhaps you could call it natural state, expanded consciousness through these drugs, but that it doesn't last. That's the point.
I've had choiceless awareness on these, definitely, and
Right.
I've sort of said to people it feels like God consciousness. I mean, I'd be careful who I say that to, obviously.
Well, LSD is well known for being a drug that can expand your consciousness, so that's all good.
But as you say, it wears off. That's the thing for me. The next day, it's like, oh, where's that gone?
We're talking about something that is not a state that wears off. So I think the drugs show you the possibility of what this consciousness is and what it is to live that. But the focus and the subject here is, what does it mean, and is it possible to live with that as an ongoing, not state, because state's past, an ongoing way of being. And my point is that we actually start our life like that. And it can be possible to live like that as an adult. And I use the term natural state because we had it as children. And so it's a return to the natural state.
Funny, because I've seen this happening in my life recently, being pulled, into my personality, away from choiceless awareness. I recently had a bit of a health scare, might be too much a word, but I've done a bit of damage to myself, and I was advised to stop smoking, watch my diet, and watch my alcohol, probably.
Yeah, I remember you telling me, and I remember you very clearly saying, "That's it. You were adamant,
never going to smoke again."
resolute.
But my nephew came back from university recently. We were having a drink. He offered me a cigarette, and personality awareness sort of said, "Yeah, that'll be fine." Personality awareness, didn't consider my heart.
For the viewer, personality awareness means there is a looking away from anything that challenges personality.
And funnily enough, after that one cigarette, then I was going out buying packets of cigarettes and back smoking, not enjoying it, very quickly, and feeling muffled. I spoke to my doctor yesterday, and it was funny. There was, the damage is mild to moderate, and I realised listening to her, I was hearing moderate when she was speaking, but I'd been hearing mild before. When I was smoking, when I've gone back smoking, it's like, oh, it's mild. I'll stop. But it's not serious yet.
So the personality awareness heard mild and ignored moderate.
Yeah. And choiceless awareness was really hearing the moderate.
Focusing on the
or it's focusing on it's worse than I've been.
Then you'd have to take it more seriously. I mean, you imagine if the health scare had been worse. I mean, this is a question.
If it was severe, I would have stopped smoking immediately.
Well, that's right. This is the question. How bad does it have to get before the personality's pull to go unconscious? Say, "Oh, you'll be all right. Just have this or that, and have another drink. How bad does it have to be before you're pulled into that?"
So I mean, I think life-threatening would probably, but which is too late actually for many things. I mean, I'm lucky I've had this warning that is mild, and I can mild to moderate, and I can do something about it.
Yeah, but long term it is life-threatening, isn't it? Because the cumulative.
If I don't do something about it, yeah.
Sure.
But it's in the distance. It's it's further than my personality wants to see or can see.
Sure. I mean, there's right and wrong in terms of health, of course. But this is not good and bad in a value judgment of you're a bad person because you're smoking again, you're drinking again. All I'm saying is that when I found out that you had smoked again, I thought, oh, that's interesting, because I thought, because the waking up, you don't get that option to get pulled back that way. And I guess it's because the yearning to get out is bigger than the pull to stay in. What we've described here in your health scare is a symbol of that, really, and a microcosm of what the personality does. It pulls you. It was interesting. You had one fag, and then you're buying a packet. And
I did. In the back of my mind, it's coming up. Just that exact point. Someone said to me that the reason why someone will tell their other half they're just going out for one pint after work, and then don't come home, have 6 or 4, is it doesn't take much alcohol, about half a pint of beer to ruin your judgment, was how it was said to me. And, in this context, it would be, personality awareness again comes in.
I've got a friend who used to drink, not really, really heavy, but it was obvious that it had become a habit. And it was, like you or you're smoking, there are pluses, there are strains and stresses in life, and alcohol kind of smooths them out a bit. Oh, I can go unconscious a bit, I can relax a bit. But it had sort of crossed the line and become every night and a certain amount, more than just one glass, And she realised, she saw that it was actually an addiction. And somehow in the realising of that, it just stopped. And she hasn't drunk anything since. It's not like willpower. In this friend, the awareness was strong enough that that overrode the personality. Says, go and have a drink. It overrode that. Now, I'm not anything against drinking. I drink a little bit myself, But an addiction, once again, we were talking about agendas. Addiction is a, personality trait. Because of this talk, you might treat it as like a pep talk and think, what is a pep talk? It's like somebody stirring up enthusiasm. I will do it. I will give it up because it's good for me, right? But at the same time, as long as this personality still got the opposite, that can still rise up just as much as before. So how this stops is really about choiceless awareness becoming big enough that this voice is just kind of loses its power and its intensity. So we're not in religious areas where we're saying this is bad, this is good. We're more talking about as the light of awareness increases, the darkness of unconsciousness decreases, and along with that goes all the symptoms of suffering, of the addictions and the, and health is part of the joy of life. And activities that hurt oneself is self-hurt. What we gain from them is going unconscious and feeling a relief from the suffering, but in fact they are part of the suffering.